Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we will be exploring the not-so-secret formula to success as described by Wallace Wattles, or the principle of efficient action. Now, in today's video, we will be reading from a chapter from the profound book called The Science of Getting Rich. This chapter is called Efficient Action. And I'm especially excited to share this chapter with you because it offers a practical, guaranteed equation for success that I've found especially useful in navigating the challenges of today's age. Now you're probably wondering, who is Wallace Wattles? Well, Wallace Wattles was a pioneer in the early 20th century self-help movement and a key figure in the New Thought philosophy. He's best known for his books, The Science of Being Great and The Science of Getting Rich, which is what we'll be reading today. He simplified complex spiritual and philosophical principles into practicable, actionable steps for personal growth and development. Something that I find especially helpful with Wallace Wattles is that he's able to break down these complex spiritual concepts into practical, pragmatic ideas that you can really grow and learn from, especially in today's day and age with all these distractions. So his teachings have influenced modern success philosophies and remain timeless guides for unlocking potential and achieving greatness. He actually inspired a lot of the other modern writers like Neville Goddard, Napoleon Hill, and Florence Scovel Shinn. As I mentioned, this book was written in 1910, so this is a pretty old book. And it's really fascinating how a lot of the ideas and concepts seem like they were written about today's age, especially when you take into account like all the distractions from social media and your phone. The way he breaks this stuff down, it's so practical and it really offers like a step-by-step way to become successful. So before we jump into the chapter, let's take a look at what this equation for success actually is that he describes. And it really has to come down to what the title of the chapter is called, and that's efficient actions. So just as a quick sneak peek before we jump in, what this chart is showing is basically how efficient actions throughout your day and your life compound over time, where you basically have to reach success. There's no other option. And inefficient actions also compound over time and make it a lot harder to reach success. So let's jump into this chapter. So this chapter is called Efficient Action. It's chapter 12 from the book, The Science of Getting Rich. And before we start, I just want to describe how in this book, when he mentions the word rich and becoming rich, he's not just talking about making a lot of money. He's talking about a fulfilled, rich life. And riches come in many forms. Riches can be relationships, it can be money, wealth, it can be a house, it can be items, but it can also be personal fulfillment and happiness. And I think one of the ideas and something we get mixed up a lot with in today's age is that people think that money and being rich or having wealth is evil, and it'll just lead you to distractions and material things. And this is definitely true in one way, but money is not actually the root of evil. And being rich and having wealth actually allows you to do greater things in society and to fulfill personal things that you'd like to fulfill. So yeah, I just want to get you to get that in your head that this chapter, and when we're talking about being rich, it's about being successful and fulfilled, not just having money, even though wealth is an aspect of riches. Alrighty, so let's jump in here. You must use your thought as directed in previous chapters and begin to do what you can do where you are. And you must do all that you can do where you are. You can advance only by being larger than your present place, and no man is larger than his present place who leaves undone any work of the pertaining to that place. The world is advanced only by those who more than filled their present places. All right, so let's scroll down a little here. So every day is either a successful day or a failure. It is the successful days which get you what you want. If every day is a failure, you can never get rich. While if every day is a success, you cannot fail to get rich. If there is something that can be done today and you do not do it, you have failed insofar that that thing is concerned, and the consequences may be more disastrous than you can imagine. You cannot foresee the results of even the most trivial act. You do not know the workings of all the forces that have been set moving in your behalf. Much may be depending on your doing of some simple act. It may be the very thing which is to open the door of opportunity to get very great possibilities. You can never know all the combinations which supreme intelligence is making for you in the world of things, and of things of human affairs. Your neglect or failure to do some small thing may cause a long delay in getting what you want. Do every day all that can be done for that day. There is, however, a limitation or qualification of the above that you must take into account. You are not to overwork, nor rush blindly into your business in the effort to do the greatest number possible of things in the shortest possible time. You are not to try to do tomorrow's work today, nor to do a week's work in a day. It is really not the number of things you do, but the efficiency of each separate action that counts. Every act is in itself either a success or a failure. Every act is in itself either effective or inefficient. Every inefficient act is a failure, and if you spend your life in doing inefficient acts, your whole life will be a failure. The more things you do, the worse for you, if all your acts are inefficient ones. On the other hand, every efficient act is a success in itself. And if every act of your life is an efficient one, your whole life must be a success. All right, so let's take a break here. Let's pause. And let's go over the first key point. So the first key point discussed here is to avoid the trap of overworking and knowing that success is about quality and not quantity. You are not to overwork nor rush blindly. It is really not the number of things you do, but the efficiency of each separate action that counts. So what I really want you to get across is that it's not just about grind, do everything, all you can do in one day to be successful. It's about taking the right steps at the right times and not actually overworking. Because when you overwork or you do tomorrow's work today, you're doing so much in one day, you're then going to burn yourself out, and it's actually not efficient over time. Your body needs rest, and that's why people sleep. So a quick explanation is success does not come from trying to do everything at once or rushing to complete tasks. Instead, it comes from making each action deliberate and efficient. All right, so let's jump back in. On the other hand, every efficient act is a success in itself, and if every act of your life is an efficient one, your whole life must be a success. The cause of failure is doing too many things in an inefficient manner, and not doing enough things in an efficient manner. You will see that it is self-evident proposition that if you do not do any inefficient acts, and if you do a sufficient number of efficient acts, you will become rich. If now it is possible for you to make each act an efficient one, you see again that the getting of riches is reduced to an exact science like mathematics. And that's the main point I really want you to get out of this video, is that success and fulfillment literally is an exact science as he breaks it down here. It's about doing efficient actions and avoiding inefficient actions. And if you keep taking efficient actions, even if you take some inefficient actions, but your overall course of your day is a success where you complete those actions efficiently, over time, you will become successful. There's no other option. So let's look here. Efficient actions define success. Every efficient action is a success, and every inefficient action is a failure. Think about it like that chart I showed earlier. If every act is in itself either a success or a failure, if all your acts are inefficient ones, your whole life will be a failure. So every single action carries weight, no matter how big or small. And efficient actions accumulate into successful life, while inefficient actions lead to failure. Let's scroll back up to this. So Efficient, 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 compounding over time. Inefficient, 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 failure over time. So let's jump back into the book. So the matter turns then on the questions whether you can make each separate act a success in itself, and this you can certainly do. You can make each act a success because all power is working with you, and all power cannot fail. Power is at your service, and to make each act efficient, you have only to put power into it. Every action is either strong or weak, and when everyone is strong, you are acting in the certain way which will make you rich. So I just want to jump back, and what is he describing when he's talking about power? Well, this power that he's describing is the supreme infinite intelligence, which he mentioned earlier. And basically, this supreme intelligence is the unseen animating force that causes life to happen. It is the force of life, and it's at the base of all living reality. And your human brain, your human consciousness is not just a reflection of it, but literally has this source within it and can be tapped into. So like I said, it can be tapped into, but the way you tap into this is you have to have a definitive purpose or a definitive goal that you're working towards, or an ideal version of yourself that you are looking to become. And this very power of imagining this ideal version of yourself or this goal that you're working towards and working towards it, that evolving and growth, this is the very nature of our reality. And this is how you connect with that supreme intelligence. You give it a goal, you give it something you're working towards, and it will support you. So that's what he means when he's talking about all power here. He's talking about that support of infinite intelligence. So every act can be made strong and efficient by holding your vision while you're doing it and putting the whole power of your faith and purpose into it. So that's what he means here, is that in every little action, no matter how big or small, if you hold that vision of your ideal and your goal, what you're working towards while you're taking these actions, it will keep you strong. It will keep you on track, and it will keep you supported. So let's jump back here. So the equation for success is inevitable when you focus on efficient actions. If you do a sufficient number of efficient acts, the getting of riches is reduced to an exact science like mathematics. Like we see here, efficient act, efficient act, efficient act. Over time, you will be working towards success. But if you keep taking inefficient act, over time it compounds and makes it much harder to build back up towards success. So, success is predictable and systematic. Like a mathematical equation, the sum of efficient actions guarantees wealth and achievement. So let's jump back into the chapter here. It is at this point that people fail who separate mental power from personal action. They use the power of mind in one place at one time, and they act in another place at another time. So their acts are not successful in themselves. Too many of them are inefficient. But if all power goes into every act, no matter how commonplace, every act will be a success in itself. And as in the nature of things, every success opens the way to other successes. Your progress towards what you want and the progress of what you want towards you will become increasingly rapid. Remember that success action is cumulative in its results. Since the desire for more life is inherent in all things, when a man begins to move towards larger life, more things attach themselves to him, and the influence of his desire is multiplied. So let's jump back here and review that. So you must align your power with your action. If you're just a mere dreamer and you're just imagining your ideal, but you never take inspired action, nothing's going to happen. And I think this is a trap that a lot of spiritual people fall into, and they think they can just imagine it or the idea of it and then it manifests. But you have to take action. That's the nature of reality. So you must align your vision and faith with every action to make it efficient. Every act can be made strong and efficient by holding your vision, putting the whole power of your faith and purpose into it. Mental focus and belief in your purpose are what infuse actions with power. The more aligned you are, the more successful each action becomes. Just like I said, just like I show here, it compounds over time. And when you're at this point, when you're so aligned, you're just going to keep making efficient act after efficient act and not even think twice. So the next thing that we were describing is cumulative success. So efficient actions compound over time, accelerating success. And as you start to have one win and another win and another win, it's going to snowball effect, and you're going to get more and more confident, and you're going to feel that nothing can take you down. So successful action is cumulative in its results, and every success opens the way to other successes. It doesn't grow linearly, it grows exponentially. And each efficient act attracts more opportunities and just snowball affects this whole thing. Do every day all that you can do that day, and do each act in an efficient manner. In saying that you must hold your vision while you are doing each act, however trivial or commonplace, I do not mean to say that it is necessary at all times to see the vision distinctly to its smallest details. It should be the work of your leisure hours to use your imagination on the details of your vision, and to contemplate them until they are firmly fixed upon memory. If you wish speedy results, spend practically all of your spare time in this practice. So I think this is an important thing to note, and it kind of circles back to that first point of not overworking. And that's that you can't just be holding the vision all day, every day. You can't just be living in your ideal all day, every day. I mean, it's impossible. You're still living in this timeline, this life. But what you can do is in your leisure hours, like he mentions, when you're not at work, when you're not working towards your goal and you have some time off, this is when you really hone in on creating that vision and living in the ideal of your desire. So this is what he means here, is that you must create this idea so strongly in your leisure hours that it bleeds into the rest of your life, so that you end up living in the ideal as your base. So by continuous contemplation, you will get the picture of what you want, even to the smallest details, so firmly fixed upon your mind and so completely transferred to the mind of formless substance that in your working hours you need only to mentally refer to the picture to stimulate your faith and purpose and cause your best effort to be put forth. Contemplate your picture in your leisure hours until your consciousness is so full of it that you can grasp it instantly. You will become so enthused with its bright promises that the mere thought of it will call forth the strongest energies of your whole being. Let us again repeat our syllable of your whole being. So that's the end of this chapter. Here it just gives a little repetition, which is repeated at the end of each chapter, which describes the full process of this book. But as far as what we're looking for in the specifics of efficient action, we're going to end there. And the last key point here is on visualization and focus, like we just mentioned. Use visualization in your leisure time to strengthen your focus. Use your imagination on the details of your vision until you grasp it instantly. And what he really means by this is that you picture your goal and your ideal version of yourself so clearly in your leisure time that when you are working or you are thrown off, you're not on full focus, even just the mere picturing of that will instantly jolt you into the feeling of living in your desired state. So let's go over the key points of this chapter. So the main thing that I want you to get out of this video is the accumulation of efficient actions towards compounding success. So efficient actions build over time. You keep making the right action, it's going to snowball effect, and you're just going to be living at this higher state. And these other distractions won't even phase you anymore. But let's go through these key points. So you must avoid the trap of overworking. I know it's really easy when you're inspired, when you're feeling like you're on the grind, to just work, work, work. But you must avoid that because it will burn you out over time. Even if you think you're invincible, it's not the right way to reach success. Yes, you can work hard. Yes, you can do lots of work in one day, but you know how much is too much work. So I want to reiterate to do all that you can do in a day, but don't do tomorrow's work today. The next key point is efficient actions define success. So it's really this simple. If you keep taking these efficient actions towards your goals and towards your ideal version, you will become successful. It has to happen. It's a mathematical equation. And if you go the other way and you keep taking inefficient actions throughout your day, it's going to compound and leave it much, much harder to dig yourself out of that hole. So the next point is the equation for success. And that equation is simple. And that's why I say it's not a secret, because it really is over time. Take efficient actions in every little thing you do. If it's a small thing, if it's a big thing, be great and do the right thing throughout the day, and it will just snowball over time. So that even if you do have some inefficient actions, your chart, you're already so high up here that even if you dip down a little bit, you'll keep going back up. So the next point is aligning power with action. Yes, you can visualize your desire. Yes, you can live in the wish fulfilled, but it's not going to manifest into reality if you don't take inspired action. And you're not going to feel that inspired action if you don't hold your definitive purpose in your mind and hold faith that it will come to happen. So that point, align your power with action. Next is the idea of cumulative success. So like he says, it's a snowball effect. Keep taking these efficient acts and keep feeling empowered by that act to give you more confidence. And you know you'll build, and you know you will get to the point where you need to get to, because it's a mathematical equation. And then finally is visualization and focus. So like he says, in your leisure time, visualize and find that definitive goal, that ideal version of yourself, and visualize it and feel it as if it's already real. And priming yourself with this energy will make it so that when you're feeling that pressure to do an inefficient action, or to just give in, or to eat the bad food, or to not work on your goals, visualizing and having that focus in the back of your head of that ideal, it'll instantly wipe out that feeling, and you'll know, okay, I'm living at this high level. I can't be making that decision. I know what I want, and it'll keep you locked in. So these are the key points of this, and this is what I want you to get out of this video, is that efficient actions will make you successful, and that it really is a mathematical equation. The more efficient actions you take over time, you must become successful. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe. Thank you.